This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, you might notice some design changes for the podcast. I had a lot of free time with Instagram being blocked right now. But you know what's weird about the whole thing? I was Googling it because I was like this. All right, so I thought it was because of like me posting about aliens. It could be. I don't actually know. But with the whole, you know, what was that? TR3B and like all these like black budget projects and stuff. So I thought maybe I was like tripping something, and then like I hit the algorithm and then it upset the algorithm. So I was like, okay, it's been a few days. Let me just read what other people's experiences are. And on Reddit, it actually happens to a lot of people, and they don't actually know why it's happening, because there's like 2 billion or something, 3 billion users on Instagram. So they didn't know how best to like police all the information. So they created these like algorithms, and then the algorithms just like decide on their own what's going on. Even when I reached out to the freaking help desk, which I thought was kind of interesting. You have to pay in order to speak to a human, because I was like, oh, how am I going to fix this? And then like the only way to speak to a human is if you buy like Meta Verified. And yeah, they were like no help. So I thought there was like some crazy conspiracy. And you were like, I don't know, it's just what do you call that? It's like coincidence. It's not specifically.
What I forgot what word I used. Yeah, it's
yeah. Because I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And you're like,
no, but it's like there's an easy way to. Yeah, it's like if you search, because then I searched TR3B on Instagram and just popping up all the stuff. Anyways, right? It's not like blocking it.
Right. It's right, exactly. But it's like I was wondering, are the people who are being like promoting it overly? Are they like being silent somehow? But I don't know what it is. I just tripped something
like
on the Instagram.
But that's like our brain does that. We're trying to find a pattern that's not there.
Yeah, totally.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. I was reading that where it's like some people were just create an account and were banned automatically. Like, so maybe there's some. I don't know. The algorithm has some issues, or it's just past. I don't know. Is it? You know, it would have said copyright, I guess, if it was anything to do with that. But like people can report things, so I don't know if people are reporting it.
Oh, true.
And then that triggers the algorithm to do something. So
could be. Because like I post quite a bit, so like I have like 9,000 posts on there. So like I don't know what it is that's like triggering. Like maybe somebody is reporting it on their end. Actually, yeah, you're right. That could be it. Yeah, I guess we'll never know. But that was weird that when I tried to sign up with a new account, it's like suspended. You cannot. I was like, what the hell?
That'd be the IP address. The IP address is suspended. That's what that means.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was because I had like Meta Verified, and then like trying to use the exact same name. Maybe it was like, are you spam? Are you trying to like copy this? I'm not sure. Like the reason why you get Meta Verified is so that nobody can copy your account or something. Like you have like the like it's like for celebrities, right? Like you don't want impersonations and stuff, so maybe that's why. But yeah, I guess we'll never know. It's weird.
What do they mean by Meta? You get Meta Verified, but how do they? What are you doing to get verified?
Oh, my license. You have to. So there's specific things. That's why I had to change my like name and like photo, because I tried to keep like I'll Light My Fire and use like the logo as my display picture, and then it was like it kept rejecting it over and over. And then it's like, if you don't want to be rejected, your license should match your name, and then your photo should match your license. So I was like, okay, let me
Okay.
try this. And then because it like, I don't know, I guess algorithms, right? But it's weird because like when it gets so big and we're relying on these algorithms, not humans, because I kept being like, hey, can you send this to a human? Can you send this to a human? Because like
Mhm.
they'll see like, wait, this guy's not tripping anything,
But I don't,
you
I don't,
know?
I don't even think they have enough. Like when you said you spoke to a person, but then it was pushed to a different department. That's probably maybe run by AI. Like there was no
Yeah,
people
true.
on the other end.
So the girl was like, the one who like she called me on the phone and she's like, yeah, I'll push this upward. Is it okay if they sign into your account and try and replicate? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, try and figure this out for me. And then like I just got an auto response back, like, here is an article. We have closed your thing. I was like, what the hell? So
Hmm.
like maybe yeah, it's still run by AI software when you get to like the next level of it, which is it brings you like some weird questions because you're like, are we relying too much on AI? Remember during COVID, if you even said, like a lot of people, I don't know if this is real or not, but they'll say like not, they won't say COVID on their podcast. They'll be like the virus
Hmm.
because if it like picks up that word, it'll flag you and like all this stuff, you know? And it's like,
Hmm.
is it just too many people to police that the AI is like running amok right now? Like it's being confused, you know?
It's still being taught. It's not yet where we need to
Exactly,
be.
right? Yeah.
Because it's still gonna make errors because it may think something is an issue, but it's not an issue,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure, for
right?
sure. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, and it did say like as one of the fixes to this, you just wait 10 days, because like
Hmm.
it needs time to like recalibrate itself, like the AI system, and then when you post again, it's like it's running a new AI. Like it like it overturns every few like week or so. So like the algorithm will get updated. So, hopefully it won't trigger anything the next time.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's weird too because you're like everything was online, and like if you just like what I'm trying to say is like you have these accounts, and then when you lose everything, you're like, oh, I just lost a piece of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially if you like host a lot on there. Like I created a whole nother Young Yoda account because I'm like I haven't promoted that yet, but like or even the Socratic Gamers podcast. I had to create an Instagram account only for that because I was only posting it on my account.
Hmm.
And then I was like, but if this gets taken down, we lose everything.
Right, right, right.
So you almost have to like back up your backups now because you
Hmm.
don't know which one is going to
Sure.
like fail,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like redundancies kind of thing. But then it's like, are we living too much online? Because I was like, this is wild, like
Hmm.
if you erase somebody, because like think about this, if somebody doesn't have like any online presence, they're kind of a weirdo, right?
Sure. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
like
yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're like,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and it's like even the people that are the most fringe, like one of my friends is like, they're like, oh, I don't. Oh, actually, no. We easier example because we both know the same person. So one of our friends, they're like, oh, I just get off the app, and like, but they still have a historical record of like their old accounts.
Hmm.
They haven't closed those. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even if you don't want to use Instagram because you feel like it's like or like any social media platform, you don't want to be like traceable online. You still have some historical record. Like they still have a Facebook account, they still have an Instagram account, like all that stuff.
Hmm.
So imagine if you just had nothing. You're like, dude, you are like the ultimate ghost. What's going on?
Right.
Like, wouldn't that freak you out? No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Everybody.
Kind of weird. Kind of
Yeah,
weird. Like we're in such a digital age now, but that's weird because it's like all the powers in the social media apps. Because then they're like, we'll just take you off, and then you don't exist, bro.
yeah. Hmm.
You know? Or like, it'd be really cool in the future that show that you had where it's like upload, and then like they can create a digital version of yourself. Imagine if like you can take your social media account and then like create a digital you, right? But if you have no social media, it's like how do you create a digital you?
um, yeah, this is the whole thing about social media is because I just watched this documentary about someone impersonating another person. It's called
Oh, okay.
catfishing, and
Okay, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was a documentary just recently released on Netflix, um, where this person her whole like 9 years. Never met the person, but like fell in love with this person. But it was all is a spoiler thing, but it was her cousin acting as like 90 different people, and
Oh, damn.
and she
90 different people.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like
That's crazy.
create a whole story around someone that she fell in love with, but it's like, but you have to act as so many different people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're not real. And then you're like you can really. I've seen those similar documentaries where they're like, hey, can we just jump on like a FaceTime or something? And they're like, oh yeah, my camera's broken or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
you're right. That's
yeah.
what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but you're like, but you have proof of life through other people, and then you realize like, oh no, they were just faking those other people. But it's like, imagine the person who like you believe that so hard, and then it just got wiped away, and you're like, oh my god, that was a lie for like 9 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's pretty freaking wild. Like, what do we do about all this? You know what I mean?
So
Like,
the whole idea was like, there's no like, what do you call it? There's no punishment for that kind of thing. There's no jail time for doing that.
oh, yet.
Well, that's the idea that's trying to push forward.
Interesting. Yeah, we're heading into a weird, like, there's like aliens and like UFOs and like all this stuff. I really do think that. Oh yeah, Ancient Apocalypse. Graham Hancock's show just came out again, and I was watching it, and I'm on the episode where they're talking about the Yuga cycles, or like the Mayans figured out with great accuracy like the rise and fall of civilizations. This is the fourth iteration, they said, of civilization before it fell, and we're heading into a time of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, we could see it. It's like he was talking about climate change in the show, but I'm like, no, even like aliens, AI, like we're hitting this point where it's like there's so much influx that we just don't know where we're headed. Like imagine being like 200 years ago, you're in like Rome, you're like, okay, yeah, it's just like just Roman times. Even though there was like some fall during the Roman times, but like there's not such a crazy advancement in technology of like the way we live our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have like AI software. They're just like, okay, a new way to kill people. They're like, oh, cool. Or like a new ruler. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like within the last 100 years, we just jumped so crazy far ahead that it's like we are obviously on a whole different trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with that, full self-driving. you mentioned that right before we jumped on.
Yeah, because after the Tesla's presentation of it all, the robotaxi, was it earlier this week? They're just like, oh, here's like the current model of FSD beta to try out for like 30 days.
That's pretty cool though. Like that they at least let you try it.
Yeah. So it's like it's supposed to take you from destination to destination, like the whole trip.
Oh wow, okay.
Right.
Right, yeah, full self-driving.
Yeah.
So like,
the other one I was using before was just like called autopilot. So just like when I'm on the road, I can just let it run, right? But like no lane changing, nothing like that. So this would lane change if someone is like slow in front of you or whatever the case may, or based on your destination. Okay, left turn is coming up, so change lanes if you're on the right side, right? Yeah. But I'm still like hesitant because it's still in beta, right? It's only using cameras.
Wow. Okay.
Right, and I'm impressed by like how many cars it picks up. Like you can see it on the display and what it's doing, and you can see there's like the route map or like the line of where the car needs to go. The route is like you can see it like changing its ideas, or like it's like predictions. It's like it's predicting what the future is, right? Where
that's cool.
You can see it do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So it's like, okay, there's traffic coming up. Let me just consider this way.
Yeah, that way, or like how is the road going to be in up ahead, right? If it's the same like this, or it's predicting different things, possible scenarios to act if it needs to.
Wow, that's really cool.
Things like that. But like overall, I've been okay with it. Still, it does move a little quicker at certain times than I would like it to. You're like, let me just. But I've been like having my hands on, like hovering over the steering wheel just in case. But that's what they tell you to do, anyways. Not to like fully let it go, because it's still an like algorithm beta. That is still learning.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. See, the more, all right, so the
So
most
the only
likely,
way, like
yeah,
I just want to, like, only reason with all this thing is the only way algorithm can learn is to figure out
as
all the scenarios or as many scenarios as possible. And if every car has this right now, as of Tesla's, they have much more of a bigger like information to work with.
yeah, totally. That's what I was gonna say. That like it's probably free because they want more data
Yeah.
on like
Hmm.
how this thing will work. And I was actually gonna say that. Did you see? I saw this morning that like the terms and conditions for Twitter or X changed, and like now it can AI will read your tweets and then try and figure out um like more of your personality or something like that. But it's like, okay, I get what you're doing. You're just like feeding it more information to learn. But isn't this the same guy that was freaking out about freaking AI? So like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, it's like you're kind of like feeding us. Like, I
It's
don't know if he's the supervillain or the
no,
good
I think
guy.
it's just that it's there's it's a gray area because you have to somehow teach the algorithm or
Yeah.
AI. But at the same time, like, where are those lines that you shouldn't be crossing? That,
Yeah.
that's the hard part. Yeah.
Okay, but going back to that thought of like, is he the hero or the villain? What we know about like UFOs and like all that stuff, and like, why wouldn't you pursue? Or maybe it's so black budget that he's like, I don't want to
I think he
touch
said it.
that.
I mentioned I
Oh,
saw like
what?
I saw a clip of him. I think it was on Tucker Carlson something recently, where it was like he doesn't believe in like the UFO things, but he believes in like the black like the hidden projects like that
Yeah,
exists, and they
but
probably
like,
have the technology. Yeah. So he
why not like venture into it? Or
um
maybe he is.
in some ways, but it depends on like how much more you want to venture into it. It's like if he's working on rockets and cars and things like and Neuralink. There's so much that a person can spend
Yeah,
time
okay, that's
doing.
fair. The only thing with like the okay, so what they're saying about the UAP stuff is that so I'm listening to Stephen Greer on like a new podcast for his name, like Sean Ryan podcast. And this guy was like an ex-Navy SEAL, and when he became a it's funny like when you learn how the sausage is made, you kind of like don't want to be a part of it. So he's a Navy SEAL, and then he was like when he came back from Afghanistan or something, he's like, "What are we doing?" And then he started to go down this like rabbit hole of like what's really going on. And then he encountered Stephen Greer, and Stephen Greer was talking about how I think it was a few podcasts ago where I was like, or maybe it was last podcast, where it's like most of these things are probably ours. That's why people are seeing UFOs like all over America, right? And they're near Air Force bases and stuff, probably because like they're testing them. People just
I
don't know
was
what they
gonna
are,
say,
right?
like, I think I was thinking
Yeah.
the other day, I was like, is it only like most of these things are reported in America,
You're right. No. Well, they're reported around the world,
but not as many?
but
Is what I'm thinking.
so the theory is that it's so common in other places. Like Japan has a town where you can go and watch UFOs, or UAPs, whatever you want to call them. Brazil, there's a town that they're like UAPs are prevalent here. It's more like because
Oh,
it's
normal.
so yeah. It's like why would we promote it? Like other places around the world, they've accepted it more readily than we have, or like North America, and they say that it was because of Project Blue Book. So Project Blue Book was like all of these UAP UFO encounters, they would kind of like dispel them by making them seem fake. So it's like, oh, we figured that one out. Oh, that was just a weather balloon. Oh, remember like Roswell weather
Mhm.
balloon? That was a part of that project. And what both Lou and Stephen Greer were saying, which is funny because they clash, but they're saying the same things, is that they just did too good of a job with this. That now when we say it, you're like, oh, you're a weirdo for believing it. It's like, no, you've just been psyoped so well. But now that we're trying to reveal the truth, it's like having a hard time. So people like there's a lot of animosity towards it. Whereas again, in those other countries, they're like, yeah, UFOs exist. They're like, yeah, no, you just go to the town and like go watch them.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, okay, you know. Um, but yeah, so with all this, I'm wondering like, is Elon Musk like he is like the psyop of humanity. Like, hey, we only have electric cars. Hey, we only have reverse thrusting rockets. Hey, we made this thing reverse thrust. But it's like, dude, you have like electrogravitic tech. The term is electrogravitic. That's so they create such a strong energy wave of electricity that it allows you to warp gravity. So it's like if we have that in like ultra black budget, why not pursue that openly? Which is, remember, I a while back, Stephen Greer, he was like, I'm just gonna live stream us developing it, so then you can't hide it from the public.
Hmm.
I haven't checked up how far he's been on that project, but like that was his theory that if we just open source everything, and he said like Elon Musk will kind of set the stage during the electric vehicle thing when he made it open source. He's like, here's the info, guys. So he's like, if we do the exact same thing, we could change the world.
Hmm.
But it's like, why isn't Elon Musk like looking into that? You know, I'd be so into like, wait, there's a different way to do this. You know?
I don't know. Maybe we don't know what's in his thing, but he's saying he's never seen anything like UFO related, based on his satellites and everything. That's what he's going off of.
Yeah. But like, what about these? Okay, so Stephen Greer said this, that the reason why they don't bring you into these projects is because you have to be a sociopath. And what he means by that is like, if we hide this technology, we can make lots of money at the expense of other people. It all comes down to money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Elon Musk has said from the beginning, he just wants to keep consciousness going for like humanity, right? Because if we're the only planet with consciousness, it's like, well, why would we let this die out?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he wants to go to Mars, right? He said it in his book. He's been very open about it, and that's not like the thought process of a sociopath. So maybe that's why they're like, we're just gonna not tell you about this thing, and then he thinks that we just have rockets. Like, I don't know.
It could be other things.
Is he evil or
not necessarily? We don't know, but it's also he's also not born American. If these
so you
are
think
like
that American companies that are he said it was actually in this recent podcast he named the companies. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. So like we know about the defense contractors like Lockheed Martin,
like in SpaceX, they can't hire outsiders. They have to hire Americans.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you're working on like rocket projects.
So maybe he's working on like legalities. He's like, okay, well, this is just the system I have to work in.
Maybe.
Because I'm just like, if you are Iron Man, bro. If you heard about this, why are you not looking into it?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much evidence about it. You know, I would just be like, let's just go down this path. Like, let's just invest like a couple million. I have so much money. Like, yeah, small project, or who knows? Maybe he is doing that. You know, maybe he's like on the side funding certain people. I don't know. Because as time progresses, I'm like, do I trust him?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like even he was like backing Donald Trump. I get it though, because both people are terrible. I'm just like, ooh, which way are you gonna choose? But him backing Trump so heavily, I'm like, why?
This could be different reasons. I know for sure he'll be saving money on taxes.
Oh, okay. So he's thinking like the long game.
Yeah. Especially with buying Twitter and with the Tesla stock going down, it's not good.
Tesla stock going down?
Well, it's been down, right? It's just going to the normal levels that I think that makes sense to be.
Okay.
That there's a lot of taxes to be paid, and
I see.
there will be more taxes, of course, under the Democrats versus the Republicans, or under Trump.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like November, was it 5th, is going to be such interesting time for like where the whole world's going to be watching. Like, who are you going to pick? And just like, but both are like not even the best, you know? Like, I wouldn't say, because one thing that I find pretty funny, and I'm like, this is actually so true, when whenever Kamal's like, when I'm in office, I'm going to do this. It's like, dude, you're already in office. What? Why? You know? But
no,
like,
but I think, but she's not in office. She's not the president.
For sure. But your party, you were the VP. Like, right. So you were saying that Biden the whole time was bad, but you were like giving a glowing recommendation. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
the game, like the hypocrisy, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah. But they bring it
okay,
up all the time. They explain what was happening, right? It's like they had, like for instance, like the border bill.
okay.
It was a bipartisan border bill to be passed that Republicans agreed on, but then Trump said don't do it because he's going to run on an election of open border.
Okay, but okay, so
But who has the House, right? The House and the Senate, Republicans are the ones who
but,
lead, so they
but then
can
so
pass.
if she wins, doesn't nothing change? And then you're still
It's not just she wins; she's also they're putting money into the. It's called down ballots, so supporting other Democrats in the other regions, so that if they get in, then you can pass your whatever you're trying to do.
so then it's more like we need to all
Yeah,
be democratic.
yeah. Not we all need to be done, but yeah, you have to
Yeah,
be picking.
majority.
Yeah. So what
It
generally
seems a
what
little
there's also things that are people there's a lot of Republicans that are voting for Hillary or in this the traditional Republicans that
Hillary.
are or sorry not Hillary Kamala
Okay.
that what most people do is like okay I don't want to give full trust to Kamala so I'll probably pick her as president but I'll pick a Republican as in the House.
Oh, so there's like some balance
Yeah.
there. I feel like we need to, well, not we because I'm not American, but like it's just so weird the way that this is. I mean, it makes sense the way it's like balancing itself out. It's like, okay, I want to push for this, but then you still have to debate it because, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you need a compromise. But it's like, it's like so convoluted. Like it's so confusing the way everything is being run and like the promotions for it. Then you seem like a hypocrite unless you know, like what I was saying, right? Like you're already in the office and you're like, oh, but technically the way it runs, it's like, but how many people know that? And then like, is she saying that? You know what I mean? It's
No,
like,
they're explaining the whole like as I said about the like the border bill thing, right? That's one instance.
so she was like, hey, it's because
Yeah, yeah, that was in the
Republican
yeah,
and
that was in the
I'm a
debate.
Democrat.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch the debate. So she fully said like it's because we're conflicting and that's why
No,
these
but the
things
whole
don't get
border
passed.
bill that we agree, like bipartisanly, we were going to pass something that you did not want them to pass because you wanted to run that the border is open.
Yeah. So she added that.
Yeah,
All right, what was his response to that? Was it like
I
a
don't
solid
remember
response or
his. I don't remember
private
his
dogs?
response. Yeah, I think it just shifted to that.
That's a little weird too, because I'm like, why are you not? Why are you not like?
Oh, I watched
Why? Are you,
Apprentice,
yeah.
by the way, the
Oh,
movie.
cool. I was considering it, but I watched The Substance instead.
Okay.
But yeah, was it good?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, like where he learned his never deny or not never
You're never wrong or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, never agree to defeat or whatever. Yeah, just always shift to something.
But then it makes me think like with all these celebrities, not just celebrities, but like really deep thinkers, like promoting him. I'm like, what does he know? You know, it's like, or are you just dumb? Like, I don't know. There's if you look at like
Who's deep
certain thought
thinkers?
leaders,
What you're saying?
or like Elon for that, I'm just
Okay.
like, what? Or like Lex Friedman, I'm like, why? Although Lex was just like having him on, but I'm like, it's like, or even jujitsu people, army people. I don't know. They're all
Hmm.
just very like pro Trump, and I'm like, why? But then you see like the pro Kamala is like all the liberal people. You know, like the army people are all for Trump. And then you have like, or like even Tulsi Gabbard, right? She went for Trump. You're like, what? That didn't expect that one. So it's like, why? And then you have like Nick Cannon going for Kamala. I'm like, is it because of the diversity thing? Like, I'm confused. Like,
Hmm.
what? We're not. we're not doing this in a way that's like it feels very like
I think
superficial.
it's AI that algorithms are running. How
Okay,
we're
interesting.
what kind of news we're getting, what are you believing, and
See, that's weird too, because then you're
that's
like,
these are the things that are affect. Like if you fall into one thing, you're gonna like only start getting that kind of information, right?
yeah,
And if you're not, it's kind of working against us. It's our mind looks for things that we agree on, like
yeah,
it's
reinforcing it. Yeah, totally.
reinforcing your ideals or thoughts. So that's and you're kind of like disregarding other information that is important, but it's not computing in that sense.
No, totally. But like, I'm keeping an open mind. This is why I think both are like I'm like these don't seem like the best candidates. But like listening to both sides attack one another, I'm just like okay, do I guess maybe that's the bad part too, because if all my algorithm is showing both sides being attacked, you're like, are they both dumb?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like, if they're both dumb, what does that say about society? Because like, this is the best we have to offer. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that Obama was the best one. Like, even though everyone's like,
That's what I
oh
was
yeah, he's
saying. I was
so,
saying I think we were spoiled with Obama. Just
he
how
was just so good. You're
he
like,
was so good
bro,
as an orator that it, anybody after him, no one has that skill. All right,
I
it's very rare to
know.
have that kind of skill. So
Yeah, right? Like, you're just, it's like, oh man, we messed up here, you know? Because like,
where we started off on a high, right? There's no one that's going to reach that level. It's very rare to get that level. I don't know how they were like before, right? How was like
yeah,
you saw Bush, like compared to Bush, of course, right? But like
or
I don't know
Bill
how
Clinton.
Bill Clinton was like, or even
That's
people
true.
before that, right?
That's true because remember like the sex scandal with Bill Clinton?
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, that probably was an awkward time too. Maybe we were just spoiled with Obama. Because like when he came on the news, you're like, okay.
He
I feel like
knows, yeah, he knows how to talk. How he knows how to get like grab your attention and tell a story that there's not a lot of people that have that kind of skill.
yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of people say like there was the most killings under Obama, but it's like true,
Yeah,
true,
yeah.
but like he was a leader. Like when I see these two, I'm like, I don't know. Ugh, ugh.
Sure.
Like Biden too, maybe. Because I was like, okay, he's old school, Obama's supporting him, whatever. But like, as the deterioration happened, you're like, oh my god, bro,
Hmm.
like, what are we doing? Yeah, I don't know. It will be an interesting time, November 4th, moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, quick pause. I drank too much coffee. Be right back. All right, and we're back. Actually, one more thing I wanted to say before we switch topics. The weird part about that whole thing, though, is that when you like promote a side, it says something about your personality, which I find is weird. Like it's not just like all right, so like Obama versus the other dude, and then you saw you're like, okay, well, both seem like pretty good, like as like candidates. It's just more about like what issues are you running on, right? But now it's like if I support Trump, it says like a total thing about me. If I support Kamala, it says a total thing about me, you know? And I feel like that's the weird part about it. It's like we are, it's more of a brand
Hmm.
versus like let's fix this. It's more like, why are you wearing Louis Vuitton instead of Gucci? You know what I mean? It says things about you, which I
Yeah.
find like I don't think it should be about that.
No, yeah. Before it used to just be like very private, like what your politics are, not something
That's
that
what
you
I mean.
talk about. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like we're just going on with our life. We just vote whoever we
Yeah,
like. That's it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
now it's like well, war. I feel like Canada's still decent enough where it's like it's not that level yet. Like if I vote conservative, if I vote liberal, it's like, oh well, you probably just were into those policies, you know.
Hmm.
Whereas like if you vote like for Trump, it's like, oh, you're a Trump supporter. It's not like, oh, I was into those policies.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's less about the policy and more about the person now, which is like that's why it feels icky to me.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, it's like both, you know. Yeah. Wait, before we move on to something else in terms of politics, are we looking at another election for Canada? I
Yeah,
keep seeing that in my feed a
probably
little bit, but I'm like not too
next
sure.
next year.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So it is coming.
Hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, that'll be exciting. All right. So what is okay? From your perspective, what is our biggest fear? I know we had like an idea before, but I think I've switched it.
What do you mean biggest fear in
Like innately, what is our like? What are we most afraid of?
innately?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did we say
I just want to see what you
what
think.
what did we say before?
Like death.
Okay. Yeah,
Would you still hold that?
sure.
Like death is our biggest fear, right? Because it's a great unknown. We don't know where we're going, stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought too. So I am not afraid of dying. Me, like, I'm afraid of, no, no, wait. I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying because it's going to hurt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or it depends on how you go. If you go in your sleep, that's a wonderful way to go.
Yeah.
But like a lot of warriors are like, I want to die on the battlefield. That's an honorable death, stuff like that, right? But I actually think that's not our biggest fear, or at least is not. All right, I'm going to argue to say that I don't think it's our biggest fear. I was going to say maybe it's not my biggest fear, but just go with me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I think that if I like wrote this as notes in my phone, when Athena passes away, I might stop smoking weed for a long time. The reason why is because I was like under the influence, and then Tara said something just like offhand. She was like, "Oh, it'll be sad when she's gone," and I'm like she. Oh man, it's gonna like make me so sad again thinking about it. But it's like there'll be one time when you have to put her down, and it'll be like the last time you're gonna like watch her breathe or like hold her or something like that, right? And I was like spiraling. It's so funny because Tara was like, she was not affected by it at all. She was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go do this thing now." But then like my
Sure.
mind was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
And
you're
then
in the
like
loop. You're in the loop. Yeah.
loop, and that's why I was like, I think I gotta stop it when like she passed away. Because like as the night progressed, like I went through like the craziest darkest hole, and I was like, like Tara was like doing something else, and I was like just in this loop of like, oh my god, that's so true. And then I started imagining it. I'm like, oh, and then I was like, what is this feeling? And it's like, oh, it's not death, it's being alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
R- It's
Yeah, yeah,
trippy,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
Right. Check this out. So I was like, I wonder if like doing ayahuasca or like something like a spiritual journey will make you overcome this fear of being alone. Cause I think it's not death. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like telling Tara, I was like, oh my God, I'm spiraling. And then she was like, oh, what? I'm sorry. I didn't realize like I had done that to you. Right. And then, um, and then she was like trying to tell me like, well, that's a natural part of life. Whatever, whatever. And then I started thinking about like people who have people that they've lost, and they'll go to the graveyard all this because we live next to the graveyard, and like Athena's favorite place to walk is like the graveyard, and you're just like, oh man, these people are just like comforting themselves or like trying to find community or like not trying to feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, oh, that's what we're afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
It's not death. Like,
Sure.
because when you're dead, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
you're not, who cares, bro? Like, you're not gonna feel anymore. My dad said that. Like, I was like, well, what happens if I like sell the thing
Mm.
you're making in Baraka? He's like, I don't care, I'm dead. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, you're dead. It won't matter. But like, it's the people that we leave behind,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. That
there,
makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
And then I started to feel really bad. I was like, oh my god, I gotta stay healthy for you guys, because like, if I'm gone, I'm gonna put that on you, bro. Right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I get it now.
Yeah, but it's not your burden. That's the other thing.
Oh, no, no, no. So we're sober, right? So
Sure.
in this moment, as I was getting sober throughout the night, I was like, oh, it's going away. It was like leaving me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I can think clearly again. I'm not in a loop,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then Tara's like, because I was like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I went where you went. I was like, yeah, that's it's like it's just a part of life, whatever, right? And then she was like, no, it's okay to feel those feelings though. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh
but I
yeah,
don't feel them.
right.
No, no, but I don't feel them in a sober state.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I can think about it the entire time. Like, all right, whatever. But like, there's something about, and this is why I think it's our deepest fear because it's like psychedelics are mind manifesting, right? So, and weed's a psychedelic. So like when you're when you're in it, it's like the deep secret is there coming out and you can't stop it. And you're like, oh, that's what it is. That's why you have like a lot of enlightening moments, right?
Sure.
And like, is that our biggest fear? Like truly, are we just like afraid of being alone? Even when you're dying, it's like you don't want to
No,
die alone.
I think it
You know what I
makes
mean?
sense. No, I think you're right. I've heard that before. Um, yeah, death is the I don't say catalyst, but like something like that. But that's the main thing. Yeah, you see it
Right?
all the time. Yeah. There's a lot of movies that talk about that. I remember, I think it was Otto. That was about that.
Oh,
Uh,
Otto, what's Otto? The
there's a
robot?
no. There was a movie with Tom Hanks, and he like you don't know what was happening in his life, but he was alone because his wife
Oh, yeah,
passed
yeah,
away
okay.
and that kind of stuff. So it's just like, but it was other people, the neighbors that were trying to saw that and trying to include him in their life so that he's not
Yes.
alone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah. All right, so totally. So it's so funny. Like I was in that state, and then like this was like 2 days ago or something, and then like yesterday I was coming out of it. So I was like, but it was still there. I was like, oh, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
shake it off me, right? Like, because it's like so sad to think about. And then out of the blue, this like old client of mine, they're like, hey, can you come to this party, blah blah, on November 13th, whatever. They're never gonna listen to this podcast, so like they won't know that I lied to them. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was that day. I can't make it for this reason. I could have made it, but I'm like, it's like I'm not gonna mission all the way there, bro. Like, I haven't seen you in forever. But I was like, if this was the day before, I would have been like, yes, because I'm alone. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. People gravitate towards like community when they're alone. And I think that's why like church is so important,
Mm-hmm.
like groups and stuff. Like, um,
Yeah.
I've heard this where like certain old people are like, I'm ready to die. And they're like, "Oh, why? Why are you ready to die? You still live." And like everybody I cared about is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think about it, you're like, "Oh, that's so negative." Like, but we're here. It's like, right, but I just got to know you, bro. Like everyone I really like loved, cared about is gone. And then now I'm like, I get it, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to pass too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, imagine if everyone you knew. And then I started like think to Tara. I was like, oh, is this why like I was like, should we just like have not obviously no, we're not gonna do it. But I was like, is this the reason why people have children? Because then it's like, but you're not but then you're not alone. Because then it's like something's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she was like that's one, a selfish reason to have it, and two, it's also no guarantee. Because you know so many people who like hate their parents and
Mm-hmm.
like right? So you're like, okay, well, there's that. But then I was thinking like, what's the only thing that actually lives forever? It's a company, like an incorporation.
Mm-hmm.
You can start a company and then that will be your legacy that lives on forever. And maybe that's like,
I don't know. I don't think
uh,
even I don't think even that.
oh, really? Okay. No, but then people are like, I'm not alone because all these people are like, help me survive. Like, even if I die, at
No,
least my ideas. Oh, you don't think
you
so?
can still feel alone without having a connection, right? Like if you're not having genuine human connection, then you're still alone.
Yes. No, I agree. So yesterday, I was still in a funk and I was like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna go climbing because like I just like climbing, right? So like I messaged my cousins, I'm like, hey, I'm going to the boulder park. Does anybody want to go? And then like Arvel and Caitlin were like, oh yeah, we're down. So like I was like, all right, cool. And then like I climbed with them, like hung out with them. Then I went to my parents' house. And then I was like, oh, this is the cure. I automatically felt better. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's family. it's genuine connection.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's connection where it's like the reason why I say family is like how do I explain this? It's like there's friendships,
Yeah. It's
but
family. It's family in the sense like if
wait, do you know what I'm
once you,
saying?
yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's also like each person have a different level of what, but if you consider them as family, even if they're not blood related,
That's right. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
that's what
Right.
we're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't like when I was like friendships, but it's like not really friendships though. Like you and I are friends, but I honestly consider you like family. Like I've known you my entire life, bro. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And like if I hung out with you in person, it would feel the same. I would be like, oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. It's like you need like Filipinos are really big on family, and you're like, why? But it's because they come from so much poverty. So they need to rely on family. But in doing that, like so much negativity, you find the solution for it. And that's why they're like so I don't know, like family oriented. Like I don't know about your culture, but I'm just speaking from my own. But like okay, somebody can do something really bad. Okay. You're like, oh my God, that guy's terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, the logical thing, like, Tara would be like, just cut them out. And you're like, but they're family.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they ever want to come back, it's like prodigal son. You're like, yeah, come here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's it? Fast and Furious.
Right.
Dom, remember, he's like, just pull up a plate. You know?
Yeah. Right.
It's just kind of like that. And you're just like, that's why like Filipino families can get like really messy because you're just like, you'll always accept them back, but it's like they'll have problems. And you're like, bro, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's like, but in feeling that, it's like, oh, is this because we're afraid of being alone? Because when you're alone, you can't survive in the Philippines, especially. You're just poor, bro. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, it's a weird cure, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I do believe that there's a point where even if, like, let's say everyone dies and then they're like, oh, like, just come hang out with us, whatever, whatever. But it's a superficial. It's like you're doing that because you're sad that you're seeing me, like in the auto thing. It's like, oh, let's include him in their life. It's like you're only doing this because I'm alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet, but at the same time, it's like if I wasn't alone, we wouldn't be doing this, and that feels fake to me. I'd rather it be like genuine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going climbing. Then my cousin's like, hey, I'm climbing too. It's like, all right, that's a genuine, like, we just both like doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like forced. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, oh, you're alone, so I'm gonna join you.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, is there a different solution to this? Is there like, I don't know.
No, I think as a collective species, I think that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
But we're so backwards in the West where it's like, put them in an old folks' home. Don't ever think about them again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just different. That's I would say like, there's different ideals, different things, but it doesn't always work, right? In the West, you may think it's like that, but there's some people that don't believe in that kind of thing, right? It just depends on how they grew up or what their connection was towards their family and things like that. That's where it comes from too, right?
Okay, interesting. And that's why it's no guarantee. Because where it's like, oh, should we just have kids? It's like just to like stave off this future fear.
But then again, yeah, exactly. So right there, when you're saying in that, if that's the decision to make, then you've started off on a wrong basis point.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it becomes compounded because then in the future they're like they could feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are like subconscious kind of feeling that you do get when you're around certain people. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like, I don't know. I guess I just like lucked out.
Sometimes you feel like that. Yeah.
No, but like compared to other people.
Sure. Yeah.
So, like,
Well, part of the 1% in that sense. Yes.
But you don't think about it when you're growing up, like, because these are like highly like deep philosophical thoughts that you don't really think about until like you're faced with the question, you know? I know. Yeah.
No, that's the privilege that we had here.
but it's weird because
I know.
I remember like growing up, you're like not you, but like people or like myself. It's just like, oh, so annoying. Like family so annoying, right? And then like as I'm older, I'm like, oh, you like my parents, they set out to have kids because they wanted kids.
Hmm.
Like they wanted a family. And like because of that, like we were talking about the foundation, it's like their actions going forward always reinforced that.
Hmm.
Even like now, like after rock climbing, I went to my parents' house. I'm like, oh, it's like I'm your like little kid again, right? And like, but there are people who don't feel that,
Hmm.
and you're like, oh, not everyone who had kids wanted to have kids. It's confusing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why
Because you
it's a gray world. It's not a.
right.
Yeah,
But you're like also from your own perspective. So like as you're a kid, you're like you think everything's the same,
exactly. Yes.
right? And then you're like you find out about other families. You're like, what?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Bro,
yeah.
what?
Yes, yeah. It's very interesting when you learn that your way of thinking of the world is not everyone's way of thinking of the world or their
Yeah,
experience of the world. Yeah.
yeah. You like step outside yourself.
Hmm.
But it's weird when like people don't step outside themselves. You're like, you didn't mature, or like you didn't age, or like you didn't like spiritually evolve, or something. You know, it's like, why are you
Sure.
still a kid?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Do you see that meme where it's like, I think I sent it to you guys, where it's like 30 back in the 90s versus 30 now? And
Yeah.
like the 30 back then is like super old, but like now we're kind of like kids. Like even as we like talk about this podcast, like sometimes I'll be like my birthday a couple weeks ago, and Tara's like, "Oh, dude, you're 36." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds old," you know. But like, it
Sure.
sounds old. But then you're like, "But the things we're discussing, it's like fresh still. Like even this podcast is still fresh.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it's not old old.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's still like youthful, but it's youthful because it's like it's curious. I don't know what that is. There's something
No,
there
I
too
think
where
I
it's like,
think I think it's also evolving with us. It's not. We've always been that though. We've always looked at new things out of curiosity, right?
you and I or
Yeah.
like
Yeah. You and I.
our
Yeah.
generation. Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know about our
Okay.
generation. It depends.
No, because Tara was like so like 36, right? So she has like she knows somebody that's like 37 with a bunch of kids. She has like they have like 5 kids or something. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, she's like a mom." And I'm like she's like, "Yeah, she's like a mom." I'm like, "Oh, how old is she?" 37. I'm like, "I'm 36, bro." Like what? But then she's like, "No, but she's like a mom." And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
"Okay, so what does that mean?" You know what I mean? But it's not like it's like you harden. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're like, what is that? That's kind of cool. Oh, da, da, da. Like, always malleable.
Hmm.
But then, like, you hit a stage where it's like you've hardened, you know? Like, your
Hmm.
belief system's hardened. Your way of doing things is hardened. Like, this is who I am. This is who I'll be for the rest of my life. I'll die this way,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, but then you lose your vitality because then it's not interesting.
Mm, yeah, in some ways, but you're also a parent now, so your job is different
Okay, go on.
because you have to be a certain way when you have kids.
Oh, like stability.
Yeah, can't be wishy washy if you're teaching someone.
I don't know.
It depends. I think so. In some ways, yeah. And depending on what age they're at. But again,
Okay,
I don't
maybe.
know. I don't know either.
Yeah.
But right, it's a maybe because we don't have kids. But this is
Yeah.
just my thinking. But I don't know if that's right.
Well, so okay. So I think I'd be the same. I have like less time, obviously, but like the way I'd approach like raising someone would be like through curiosity. I do that with every like youth
Yeah,
that
you
I
can do that.
encounter.
Yeah.
Like, but also I'm not like disciplining them, so it's totally fine. But
Hmm.
like I still lead with curiosity. But like, all right, let's use like a solid example. Like, although I guess we don't see them all the time in person, but like we both have a friend who's like pretty wild, you know? But like the way they like interact with their kids seems like it's still curiosity.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I think you could still keep it. Like
No, you can
our one
keep them.
friend,
You can have
you know,
them. Yeah, you can have them. No, I don't. I think we're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say. I guess I don't. I'm not saying to take away curiosity.
but I think that that's the vitality. The curiosity is the vitality, and
Hmm.
I think people just lose that. They're just like, this is what it is, and like you gotta go to school because of that, or like
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like even like okay, so like somebody who's uber curious, Joe Rogan, right? He talks about his kids, and to his kids, he's like, "Well, are you interested in that? You want to learn more about that?" You know what I mean? It's like it's like leading with curiosity.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you would necessarily lose that, but there are people that definitely lose that,
Hmm.
where they become like an adult,
Right.
you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. Like I'm wondering, like you and I at 50, is it going to be like still curious? I'm sure it will be, but
Yeah.
like,
I guess it depends on what they as
and
an
then the kids will be like,
individual.
"Oh, he's a cool adult," and
Hmm.
you're like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, because I'm just still curious, like you're curious, bro." Like,
Hmm. It's
you know?
yeah. I guess what it depends what you put as important in your life. I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like resources.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that can affect what you want to focus on, or where you need to focus on.
That's true. Like we don't have time for that curiosity.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Okay.
it's unintentional. Sometimes you don't realize you're doing that because
That's
you're
true.
right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Dude, growing old is so weird. It's like, right? It's like you like change, but you don't change.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
yeah. And I think that that's like an interesting part about it too. Like us vocalizing these thoughts, other people have felt them. Like other people have felt that like being alone is the scariest thing. Other people have felt like, oh, I seem like I'm hardening out of my like I'm losing my vitality, stuff like that, right? But like I think that in having the conversation, other people like they feel like less alone, or they're like, I was
Hmm.
thinking that too. You know what I mean? I think that's the benefit of conversation, which I feel like we're losing as a society. We don't really talk about things outside of the weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right? And like, and then you try and push it, but then like they just haven't been talking about things outside of the weather, and then like they feel uncomfortable that you're talking about deeper philosophical things. Like you guys realize you're going to die, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You're just like, no, I've pushed that out of my mind. And you're like, what is that like?
Yeah.
Right? It must be so scary.
Because we're not living as again, we're not truly living as a collectivist society. Even you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
too individualistic, too in our own world, not around with like not spending. If you don't spend enough time with other people, and how to because we grew up well, not we grew up, I'm saying as a species it was supposed to be small groups. How do we do it with big groups?
No, wait. Because I can think of so many people like, no, I hang out with a lot of people. No. The differentiating point is not that you're hanging out with a lot of people, it's that you're not open to other people.
Yeah.
So you might like hang out with like tons
Sure.
of people, but it's like you're not really open,
Hmm.
you know? Like I know this one person who they're like their their person is like not at all interested in these deep conversations, right? And it's like that must be a weird dynamic, bro. Like it's you know what I mean? It's like I can't talk to
Yeah.
you about like my fear of death. It's like, oh, let's not talk about that. And
Right.
it's like, but even in the relationship, you're alone,
Hmm.
you know? It's like, but that's the thing, you're not open. Like we're too big now that we're not being our authentic selves, you know?
Afraid, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. Another thing about the loneliness. My counter was this. So I was like, wait a minute. Is this what Buddha felt? And he was afraid of death and loss, so that's why he cut his emotions off from the world?
Yeah, that's what we discussed that, right? Yeah.
No, no, but I was feeling it. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
like at my deepest
Yeah,
core,
that's what he's talking
you
about
know,
with the word suffering. Yeah.
because it's just suffering. I
Yeah.
was like, no, this is crazy. This is so crazy. All right, so are like me thinking about like the loss of Athena and like the loss of everyone being alone, you're like, oh my God, I should just figure out a way to like quell this suffering. Because it's just suffering. Like they're not actually dead. It's like it's all in the
Sure,
mind.
sure.
The
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
suffers. So just silence the mind. Okay, cool. But then you're like, am I not living?
Exactly. You're just becoming a robot.
Bro, I know. Tara,
Yeah.
hit me with that. She's like, but it's grieving is a sign that you loved.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, so like as you love, you accept the negative part of it. Whereas Buddha, which is like non-attachment,
Just disengagement. Yeah.
disengagement, right? It'll cure you. You won't
Sure.
feel bad at all. I'll just be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whatever, dogs die, who cares? Blah blah blah, right? That's why I think in my sober state I was able to like jump back into that mode and I didn't feel bad anymore.
Mm.
Because I was just like losing my attachment. But then I thought about this one. What if the ultimate test? And I said this to Tara, but I was still again under the influence. She's like, "What are you talking about?" But I'll say it again. Like I knew what I was talking about, but you know, it was just coming out weird. What if the ultimate test at the very end? Because we talk about moksha and karma, right? Karma is reincarnation into your suffering, right? Or no, not karma. Sorry, reincarnation or moksha in
Okay.
like the
Yeah,
Hindu
yeah, yeah,
Vedic,
yeah, yeah.
right? Either you liberate yourself, you like transcend to another plane of existence through moksha, or you reincarnate to play this game again.
Mm-hmm.
So what if the ultimate game, the ultimate question at the end when you're about to die is would you play the game again? But
Right.
check this out. It's like if you love somebody so deeply. So I asked her, I was like, uh, if you had to restart your whole life, would you do it all over again? Because
Mm-hmm.
my question to myself was like, how much do you love me? I didn't say that to her, but I was like in my head, I'm like, how much do you love me?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do love me, you'd go through all the pain again, just so that we could be together, right? Like I would go through all the pain again of like losing Athena. She's not dead, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
future.
yeah, yeah.
Have you seen those memes where it's like my toxic trait is mourning for a dog that's still alive? I'm like, oh my God, that's me right now. You know?
That makes
But
sense. It's only for you. You're getting that, not me.
oh yeah, true, true. You're right. You're right. All right. So like, but what if that's the game? It's like, did you love Athena enough that you'd be willing to suffer all over again? You
Mm.
know how painful life is. Like I hate needles. There's so many moments in my life. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do this again. Injections, pulling my teeth. Uh, I don't know. Just so many bad things, right?
Mm.
So it's like, would you play the game again just so that you could have those moments again?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, that's the real test.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're about to die and they're like, you can achieve moksha. We'll like liberate you. You'll never play the game again. It's like the devil's like giving you the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or would you reincarnate just so you could have those moments?
Mm-hmm.
And then Tara was like, yeah, I'd do it all over again. And I was like, we're trapped. Goddamn. All right. Reincarnate back again, you know?
Yes.
But I mean, I say that all the time with like my posts and stuff. It's like if your life is a video game, like maximize your life. Like you only have this moment. But those are the tricks. Those are the devil tricks. It's like the more you maximize your life, the more you'd want to play the game again.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're stuck in this loop forever and you'll
Mm-hmm.
never transcend to the next level.
Sure.
So am I the devil of like wanting to reincarnate, or is the Buddha the devil trying to moksha us? You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
It's a weird question because you're like, but then what about the people that had terrible lives? Like, I never want to play this game again. It's like, all right, cool. You can go on to the spiritual realm and like chill.
Yeah, I think
You get my dilemma though.
I get what you're saying, but I think
Yeah.
that people, it's about experiences and what leads the end. They're both are correct answers. I don't think they're like incorrect in that sense. It depends on where you're at in your spiritual level. That's kind of what they say.
Okay.
Because you haven't fully reached your current like spiritual level in this life. So your next life, you're already starting with an advantage of having some knowledge of spiritual level that
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I've heard
expand
of this.
more
Yeah.
in the next one.
Yeah. That's why you have to keep reincarnating until you achieve moksha.
Hmm.
But what if
But depends
it's
on where you're what kind of place you're at. Does your spiritual growth keep growing
interesting.
each time?
So maybe when I'm like about to die, because like I was just like I was trapped in like a mind loop, right? But maybe when I'm about to die, I'm like, that was a good game. All right,
Hmm.
what's next?
Yeah,
Because I'm not there. And
sure.
then it's like, oh yeah, you hit the spiritual level enough to be like, I'm willing to let this go.
Right.
Because like, because then it made me think like, aren't attachments the point of life though? Because if we all lived in a Buddha state, I would not care. And tarot is crazy because it took me like so long to realize this. Like it took me like 2 days because I was going through like this like, yeah, nothing's real. We live in like a sandcastle, so don't attach to it.
Hmm.
And then like I found myself overly attached to this dog who will die before me,
Hmm.
And then you're like, oh, I trapped myself. You know what I mean? Like I worked so hard to be like unattached, but then in trapping myself, I found the true beauty of life, which is
Hmm.
like the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Like at least you have the moment,
Hmm.
you know? That's why it also felt good to like visit my parents after rock climbing because it's like, oh, I've only got this moment. So it's like,
Yeah.
they're not dead yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but that's so painful. It's like love is, but then Tara's like, isn't the point of living to love? And I'm like, no, I think that's like, depends on what you mean by love.
It's too broad
I,
of a term. Yeah, it's too.
yeah, that's why I was like, not
It's
really.
a bad
No.
English word. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But like, isn't that like putting it more correctly? Isn't that one of the beauties of life
yeah. Mm.
that you can like experience this? Like, it's almost like Taoism. But that's why I said like Taoism comes after Buddhism because Buddhism is like total, detachment. But then the Taoists are like the yin and yang. Like, it's beautiful, yeah, but they're gonna die.
Hmm.
You're like, oh, okay, that's part of it. But then you can't live fully unless you appreciate them so much that you're willing to get heartbroken.
Yeah.
But heartbreak is a part of it.
Hmm.
That's the full gamut of experience. Like, do you want to have the full experience or no?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Freaky though, right? Because you're like, bro,
Hmm.
oh my God, that's like a heavy and like if you are like elevated, bro, you're in a hole.
Sure.
I could not use anything to snap out of that. I was like, oh my God,
Hmm.
spiral, spiral, spiral.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you agree. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
like fear. So like our biggest fear is being alone. But if we cut ourselves off from the world, then what's the point of living?
Hmm.
It's like but just know that the more you attach, the more it's gonna hurt later on. But
Hmm.
it's okay because you still have this moment, so at least enjoy it while it lasts. So it's like it's better to have loved than lost than never have loved at all, kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Right.
I finally understand that line. I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know what's really crazy? Imagine if you've never thought about this and this is the first time you're hearing this on the podcast. You'd be like, what? Oh my God, that's so true. And then
Hmm.
you'd be
Hmm.
like, so scared of like wanting to attach. Cause then I was like, cause like the next day, I was like, I didn't want to attach to anything because I was like, oh, that's so painful. And then I asked like Tara, I was like, is this what psychosis is? Cause like you can't, it's like, when, like one thing Tara says like to the little kids that she works with is um, like they'll be like, why are you telling us about mental health when you're a doctor? And she's like, well, you know how the body can get hurt, so can the mind. So my job is to make sure, blah blah, right? And I'm like, I'm like, is this how people get sick mentally? Because you have this thought of like, oh my God, I should just never attach. And then you become a Buddha and then you're like a freaking recluse and Buddha's children hated him. Remember? Like
Mm-hmm.
the full story. And he's just
Yeah, yeah,
like, I don't want to be like that, bro.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then you're like mentally sick. You know, like we need like guides, bro. We don't have spiritual guides, so you and I are just like muddling around in the water, like, oh, is this the way forward? Is this the way forward?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before you'd have like elders who knew this stuff,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we just don't like or unless you think we still have them.
Yeah,
Elders.
there's still you can have them, but I think you still it's up to the individual what level of experience. Even it depends on how much you're willing to listen to a teacher. That's another like what.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Right.
But or maybe the highest point of spiritual evolution is realizing that you are your own teacher. Because like if we're always you said this before, like the Alexander the Great line, right? Like you're like limited to the limits of your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You have to supersede your teacher. You need to be your own teacher,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're relying on
Yeah, it's one of the stories in in Hinduism too, that
what?
um the person this becomes like a great archer, but he he was not allowed to be taught by the archery master. So he taught himself, imagining it was a teacher teaching him, but he imagined his own teacher.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. This is the first time I've ever heard this story. You're literally telling me this for the first time, okay? But I do that all the time. I didn't know that was a trick. I didn't know people have done. You know when they say like everything's been done before?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the reason why I'm always jumping from martial arts place to martial arts place is like when we went to the first martial arts place, people are like, "Oh yeah, you learned from that guy." I'm like, "No, I learned from my mind, bro. I made up a fake master who like that's also what Young Yoda is, bro. Like it's people are like, "Oh, you're writing these quotes." Like, no, it's like it's me telling me, bro, like, "Hey, you should do this."
Mm-hmm.
It's like you the fake master.
Mm-hmm.
But is that the trick? You know what I mean? It's like, do we all need to create some fake master in our heads?
I don't know. Maybe that's the lesson that it's saying. Yeah, or it's teaching us that there's limitations to other people. So if you have your own teacher, you can expand as far reaching as you can. Right. That's the lesson. Yeah.
No, but facts though. Like, so remember the one dude who like commented like, "Is there something you don't do?" And I was like, why do I go to like knife fighting? Why do I go to jiu-jitsu? Why do I go to rock climbing? Because like internally, somebody's like, "Oh, now you must go do this,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, master. But I'm like, there's no real master. You know, what I'm like that is a secret.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's a
Right.
gem. What you
Yeah.
just
Right.
shared.
Right.
But that's an old story. It's like
It's an
what?
old
I didn't even
story.
know-
Yeah.
but I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, but I was just innately doing it as
Mhm.
okay. I think that the Vedas and Hinduism has all the secrets. Now that you've said that, okay.
Okay.
The reason why is because if you look into the UAP thing, a lot of there's like superpowers that you can learn in I was going down that quest before in yoga. They're called cities,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like I thought it was like some weird secret thing that I had learned through like yoga. But then listening to Stephen Greer, he's like in the Vedas there's this thing called cities that you can do with your mind, consciousness. And that is what all of the aliens use in order to go through time and space. Sounds crazy. Sounds crazy. Okay, but he was like, the reason why, and a military expert, I saw it in a video, but it didn't make sense until Stephen Greer mentioned it again. He's like, oh, it's from the cities, the Vedas, whatever, right? And he's like, but even in the Vedas, they had what do you call those? You mentioned it before, the ships.
Vimanas.
Yeah, Vimanas. So they were talking about like these alien ships before, right? So one military dude was like, how are they able to jump through space and time so quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the ships. And the military general that talked to this guy, he said, how does remote viewing work? Right? And then the guy was like, all dots, all points in space and time are connected, allowing you to jump to that space and time whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the admiral said, that's how the ships work. And he walked away. And I was like, what do you mean? Right. But if you think about it scientifically, as I'm learning more and more about this, and we talked about it too, it's like spooky action at a distance, right? Which is like one atom here and one atom here on the universe. They move at the exact same time, right? And they're saying that like all the atoms in the universe are connected. And I'm like, obviously, because they're all one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is a Vedic Taoist philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, yeah, it's one Brahman or Brahma. What is it?
Yeah,
What's the
Brahman, I
no, no,
think.
no,
Brahma. Brahma is,
Brahman?
yeah, it's close. There are very close
A
words.
Brahmin is like a priest, right? And then
Uh,
Brahma
y-
is
yes, yeah. A Brahmin is a priest class.
it's like Vishnu, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. What's like the highest one that like it encompasses everything?
The Brahmin, I think. I don't know. I forgot how to say it.
Okay, it's
Something like,
one of those. It's the
yeah,
B
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so what is in the Vedas is that like there is one thing
Mm,
that's creating all these derivatives, right? Which they know through science as the universe. Sure, you can have like multiverses, but what's the one thing encompassing everything within it, right?
you're
So you
right.
have all these multiverses, but like you have this one thing, and that's like, let's just call it the universe, or
Mm-hmm.
we can call it God or Brahma, whatever you want, right? But if it's all connected already, then of course you can jump to that space and time because like
Mm-hmm. Right.
it's like it is one thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that they're saying is the mind of the mind of God is one. This is like a spiritual Vedic philosophy, right? But that's also what they're saying in the UAP thing, which is um, there isn't your mind and my mind. It's just one giant consciousness that we're
Right.
tapping into, and
Yeah. I've heard that.
again, it sounds
Yeah.
crazy. Sounds crazy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're like, what do you mean? So we can like mind read? That is theoretically how you're able to, because they're like, these aliens are telepathic. And you're like, what? How are they telepathic? Like all of these encounters with them. Like they weren't speaking my language. They were like talking to me through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what all the encounters are saying. Of course, because like there is only one mind.
Right.
Like we, but again, it's like, is the universe? So somebody was saying this, like our brains are an antenna for consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like our brains are like a receiver. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I think that the brain is already it's just like it's the universe realizing itself. Like our brain is just allowing us to realize that we can realize.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like naturally it's conscious. It's like if you're just aware, you're conscious.
Mm-hmm.
But like when people are like, oh, I like blue and you like red and I like doing martial arts. And then they're like, who is this person, this individual consciousness? I'm like, that's not individual consciousness. That's an identity of self. That's your mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Consciousness itself is just like awareness, right? But you need the brain, like you need hardware that like has memory. That's why you affect the brain, you affect your memories.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if you have a tumor, right? What was that thing? It's like they killed them because they had a tumor in their brain, something like that.
Yeah.
So is that you? No, it's not you. It's just like it's your brain's hardware.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like consciousness is like the electricity, and then the brain is like the computer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we can all have different memory, like your laptop has different memory storage than my laptop, but the electricity is the consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? You understand where I'm going with this
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah.
That's why it's all one, because we're all just flowing through electricity, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all spiritual Vedic philosophies, but theoretically, that's how these crafts and these aliens are interacting and moving. So I'm like, and if you look at like what's the oldest religion, I think it's like one the Vedic religion is one of the oldest. It's like, did they just learn things from like aliens that came to this planet and then they made that into a religion, but all the secrets are right there? Like the Anunnaki were like, they're like, this is just how the universe works. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to write it down as a story. But it's like, because why is like the wisdom in these things like universal? It's like they're naturally true.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, if I lost you, I'm like, I don't know.
No. No. My thing is just like I don't know if it's necessarily always from aliens or we figured that out uh, or like it. Sometimes some things happen around the same time. Like you have ideas at the same time. Maybe there was UFOs coming in, and these are our ideas of how to understand that world.
Yes. Okay, so now if you look at the ancient Anunnaki story, if you pair it with like the ancient apocalypse, so he's going around the Americas and he's like, look how old this thing is. The only way you could have created this structure was with like some craft that could see above. Like you can't do these geometric shapes on the ground. You have to like have a bird's eye view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you have a bird's eye view, it means that you have a ship. But we didn't invent planes until now, right? So it's like, were aliens here helping guide these civilizations forward? He doesn't talk about that. I'm piecing it together with what like Forbidden Knowledge was saying, because Billy Carson was like, yeah, aliens were here and they like helped us. That's what allowed us to build these structures. And but it pieces really well with Graham Hancock because he's like, how would they know how to do these things when you're supposed to be during hunter-gatherer times?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't wake up as a hunter-gatherer and you automatically know how to build a pyramid,
True. Yeah.
right? So it's like some outside for and all these people, these civilizations talk about people who came from like the ocean to help teach them knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Graham Hancock's like, these are the Atlanteans. But what Billy Carson's saying is the Atlanteans were Anunnaki aliens.
Right.
So if this ancient and they just collected it, so it's like, are the secrets of our future hidden in the ancient texts from the past?
Yeah. Sure.
Wouldn't that be a freaking mind blow though? Because you're like, we think that these people knew nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you read the Vedas, you're like, man, come on, it's not real. Like we have a plane, we have an atom bomb now, bro.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But then you're like, no, they're talking about Vimanas. They're talking about like flying saucers, bro. They're talking about consciousness and able to do like these amazing things with their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought it was just like BS, but it's like, dude, it's hidden in plain sight. Just
Mhm.
read some ancient texts.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be a trip. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I think we'd all just revert to be. But then the worry here is that like we'd want to become religious. But it's like, no, it's not about the religion, bro. It's like, look at the lesson behind the religion. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think if these things are true, we'll probably end up going back to them, in the sense that we'll find our route back towards in that, understanding that level of
Yeah,
science. Yeah.
Yeah, but
because if it's true,
yeah.
it's always been true.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And that's why it's like the perennial wisdom of like perennial means like forever, like time and like it's just like forever, right? And it's like we know that these axioms are true. Like these like statements about like the like attachment, like the mind, all like the philosophical stuff is true. But how do we not know that the tangible scientific stuff's not true as well?
Mm-hmm.
So what Billy Carson is saying is that we're not inventing anything, we're rediscovering what was in the past with all these inventions, because they actually talk about like in the halls of Mementi with the emerald tablets, they talk about how Thoth is able to transfer his consciousness from one body to another. So once one body is about to die, he'll like put that back in the rejuvenation chamber, and then he'll go to this other body, and then he'll supplant his mind into that. But I'm like, we're doing that now, bro. We're about to do that now with like Neuralink and like robots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Billy Carson's like, we're just rediscovering what we already knew.
Right.
What do you think? Makes sense?
Yeah, it may make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like regardless, we don't know if regardless if the past was true or not, we're still going in that direction. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's still happening. So.
Yeah. So it's like, remember Uncharted? How he's like constantly going to like ancient stuff and he's just like learning about it, you know? And like that Uncharted, the video game, is what made me want to like travel the world and like read into this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like sounds like a cool video game. Like, let me do it in real life, right? But it's like, maybe that's the secret, bro. You need to go back with like, not like when you're a kid and you read the stuff, you're like, oh yeah, you should believe in God and the devil and like whatever, you're gonna go to hell if you do bad things, right? And then now it's like you want to revisit as an adult. It's like Disney movies, bro. As a kid, you watch the Disney movie once and you're like, oh, that was some cool animation. But then as an adult, you're like, oh, they were having deeper lessons the whole time.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Bro. And maybe that's why a lot of like Russell Brand became Christian. Am I going to be baptized again? Am I going to be Christian, bro? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that. No, I won't do that. No, that's too ridiculous. Because that seems like dogma, you know? It's like, what's the water going to do, bro? You know?
Sure.
But it is interesting that like this like ancient. What are you laughing at?
No, because they know it's just water. It's the symbolisms of what that means. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, bro, come on. It's just a symbol. Like,
yeah, but the symbols have a big impact on people.
Yeah, they do. Like placebo effect's very, very strong.
Yeah.
You know? But it's just weird because like Tom DeLonge said it. He's like, there's a trifecta, which is like aliens, ancient civilizations, and religion. Or no, science. Sorry. Science, religion, and ancient history. And at the center of it is UFOs. And I was like, no way. Like, what are you talking about, bro? But then when you read, like, when you really look into it, you're like, oh, it really is. Like, all three of those things are describing UFOs, bro. Like, science is telling you how they're able to move. Spirituality is like the Vedas is like, they were here before, you know? Like, the cities, we can move things with our minds, you know? But maybe we just, like, hit this materialist world through the Industrial Revolution that we just don't believe in this stuff anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But we're just in that phase, right? Like we're in the materialistic world. We need to touch and feel these things to be something real.
Yeah. But like we were talking about the demons that are real, like mind demons, you know, it's like you just have to go back and like see it with fresh eyes because it's like it's not a real demon, bro, but it is a demon.
Sure. Right? Yeah.
Like there's no pitchfork, but it will affect you the exact same way that like the devil would. Yeah. Dude, I probably frig. I'm just like, do I sound crazy? What's going on? No, but like if you really look into it, I'm just saying it's like it makes sense. It's like, yeah. Fell off the wagon there. You think that's too crazy, or it's like making sense?
No. I mean, for my world, it's fine, but I don't know for other people. But yeah.
But it's like just look. But it's like, why won't people peer into it? There's certain people like, okay, there
Yeah, but then
I
I
don't
think
know.
we're too much in our own mind to think like why aren't people into it? They have their own
No,
reasons.
but they have a block. What I'm saying is like they have a
Yeah.
block.
No,
It's
I
weird.
understand.
And you're like, why don't you just want to look at it? Dude, just look at UFOs. They're like, no, I can't look. Can't
Yeah,
look at it,
but
bro.
I think again, it's like no, I get that, but you're putting our issue as if it's the topmost thing.
Oh, they have other things going on.
Yeah. People have different,
No, no, but like, all right, let's say they don't have things going on. Like, I
or it's just like they're not in control of these things.
oh, I
Right,
see.
right.
It's the
Like
control.
I have no chart. Like, what can I do?
Figure out how it works, and you're like, okay, I'll lead a better life.
No, but
You
like
know what I mean?
it may not be. Like, that's the thing. You're giving up. You're saying that, but we don't know if there's anything that would actually be impactful in our life.
Oh, I see. No, I think that there would be because we would just be like better people.
I
If you
understand.
knew that
No,
about
no.
demons.
I'm saying that I understand that you understand it as that, but if they're not seeing that as the picture, right? If they don't see how
Oh, I
this will be
understand.
improving their life, there's no point.
Okay. So it's almost like you need incremental steps.
Most things need to be done incrementally, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can see that point. That's true. You know what it is? It's like swimming in the deep ocean. Like, dude, I haven't even tread water yet. You threw me right into the.
Exactly.
You're like, all right, aliens are real, demons are real, blah blah blah.
So
You're like,
what?
what,
Yeah.
dude? What? You're like, I'm in the deep ocean, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
If
it's
you
like, no, just
if you
paddle
never
with it.
even exactly, if you haven't even touched your feet with a little bit of water, right? At the beach, if you're
Yeah.
not even at the beach, how are you gonna? Like, you're just talking crazy, or like it's too much.
True. Yeah. Facts. 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 Okay, fine. All right, I agree with you. All right, can we at least agree on one thing? Last thing. All right. Can we agree on this? If you think that UFOs are not real at this point, you are bonkers.
If people think
Yeah.
no,
Why?
because they're not seeing the same thing that we're seeing.
No. I see. I see. What you're saying. No. Hold on. Wait. If I'm all right, so if I'm to a person, hey man, UFOs are real. Like, no, you're crazy, bro. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, 2017, TikTok incident. You have a congressional hearing. You have a book that came out from a person who directly studied these. You have so many eyewitness testimonies. You really think that they're not real? And then if they're like, yeah, they're not real, you're like, dude, you're crazy. Like, I'm saying, like, can that be the barometer of like craziness at this point?
Uh,
Because that's my barometer. That's why I'm asking you. Because I'm like, dude, if you can't even accept that they're real, I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, you think that, like, you'll believe anything at this point.
mhm.
We have so much corroborative evidence, and you think they're still fake. Then you know the mind's closed. You're like, I can never talk to you, bro, about
Sure.
anything but the weather.
Yeah, if they said maybe, then that's fine.
What maybe? No, if
Like
they say
instead of
no.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they said no, like 100% no, then that's dogmatic, right? Like that's
Facts.
right. I'm saying if they say maybe,
Like, oh, like, let me see it. And you're like,
yeah,
yeah, here, bro.
So that means they're open a little bit, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, okay. But if they say no, like, no, you're crazy.
No, because then yeah, if they're saying no, then that means that their worldview will be destroyed if you say yes, or if you
Facts.
say
And
even
they'll listen,
maybe. Yeah.
and they'll listen to nothing.
Yeah. Or yeah, it just not to listen to anything. It's just not acknowledge any of that as being true. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like never compute that as ever being
No,
true.
but it's like how
Or
you do one
potentially
thing is how you
true.
do everything.
Yeah.
So it's like if you won't even entertain this idea, you'll never entertain anything.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I could be like, hey man, invest your money in this because it's blah blah blah, or
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey, you probably don't want to do this because, and they're just like,
Yeah.
they're right no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Because that is my barometer. I'm like, if you will not look at this, bro, like, dude, there's so much evidence. Like, you can't tell me I'm crazy.
Right. Yeah, you can. I'm sure people, yeah. Then the same thing would be saying maybe there's something there. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that.
If you say maybe there's something there, it's like, all right, cool. We have like a little entryway.
Sure.
You might not want to look into it, but there's something there.
Right.
But if you straight up say like no, it's like, Okay.
Mhm.
You'll say no about anything then.
Right. Or that mind
Oh,
is too
closed.
stubborn. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's closed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, we agree. Is there anything else?
No.
All right, super. Yeah.
Interesting
All
world.
right, till next time. Oh wait, I'm in Mexico next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't be here. So we'll do it after. I'm going to Chichen Itza. I know you've been there, right? You've been there?
Yeah.
Or was it your brother? You've been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
When you went, were you able to go through it or no?
Go through it in what sense?
Like go up to it, like whatever. Because like
You
Tara's
can't.
parents went, and
You
said it was
can't.
like
You can't
blocked
climb
off.
it.
But like, can you go in when you were there? Because I heard now there's more restrictions. It's like, oh damn.
I don't know what you mean by going in. Going
Like,
into the area or going.
it's roped off. It's like you can't even touch the.
Oh yeah, you can't touch it.
Oh, okay. So it's been a while like that. Because
No, no.
Graham Hancock climbed it before. No, I know people who have like climbed it. So.
You're not supposed to climb it.
Oh, maybe he just did it illegally.
I don't know if he did it illegally or he got some permission, but
Oh, I see.
yeah, no, you're not supposed to, because it's going to potentially disturb it. I just want to keep it as it is, right?
Okay, cool.
Just as an ancient structure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because that's another one linked to Anunnaki and aliens and stuff. That's why, like, Tara really wanted to go to like an all inclusive. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll go, but I also want to see some alien stuff. So like, let's make this
Yeah,
happen.
they'll do the tour. I think the tour will be. They'll take you to the place. Then at least that's what for mine was like that, and then you get to kind of roam around in the
Sick.
space for a
Alright,
certain
cool.
time. Yeah.
But do they like? I'm trying to look for like a tour guide that'll like tell me about it, bro.
I think they
tell
do
you,
have.
or-
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they had a tour guide. Yeah, like they were there for a certain amount, explain a little bit of the stuff, and then you can kind of roam around.
Okay, cool. Is it big or no?
That one was big, but there's different. This is the one with that's been in like still intact kind of thing,
Okay.
as a pyramid. But there are like other pyramids that were.
Like Tulum or something?
Yeah, Tulum. I think that's like
That's too far away
yeah,
for us. It's
half.
like a 10-hour.
Oh, really? Okay. It's
Yeah,
like
I
not
wanna
half
go there.
built, but it was like it's had some issues with it, right? Like just over time degraded. I think there was some other places too, but I don't know where exactly. Which place you're going to? Riviera, or
Yeah, Riviera.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
How'd you know?
That's the famous one. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not look at this at all. I was just like, I just want a temple. That's it.
okay.
Then Tara did the whole thing. But it was in the show as well. And like people talk about it all
Okay.
the time, like forbidden knowledge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll
Anyways,
see
yeah, so-
their sports arena around there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited about ancient stuff is so fascinating because you're like, oh dude, you did it so differently. Like the Citadel in Halifax when I was saying that they just like mastered how to kill people. I'm like, dude, that's crazy that you were obsessed with.
Yeah. Well, this thing, I mean, like, there's other, like, we don't know the, like, where, what they said was, like, it's like a calendar thing.
Oh, the Mayan calendar?
No, just, like, harvesting season calendar.
Oh, okay.
Like, where the sun is at the certain point of the pyramid, then you know, like, okay, it's harvest season.
Oh, that's really cool.
Or, like, farming. Yeah. From what I remember.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah, we'll pick it up.
Just
in
a way
November.
to keep a calendar. That's how they did it back then.
That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Till November. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.